Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Backed by Bone podcast. As always, I am your host, Chris, aka Don Burgundy on the internet. What the fuck is going on? It is currently January 24th, 2023. I did not get to, unfortunately, put an episode out yesterday. Um, because we actually had a power outage. So today's gonna be episode 31. So what are you gonna do? It is what it is. But decent amount to talk about today. So let's kind of dive right into it. We are looking currently at the NFL. Let me pull up my predictions here. So for the predictions, um, I didn't mention the Monday night game as of last week because I hadn't been playing it yet, and I had picked the Cowboys for that one, and lo and behold, the Cowboys ended up winning. Um, so that's one for me. And then we had the Chiefs Jaguars game. The Chiefs actually ended up beating the Jaguars 27-20. That game was actually a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. And also, Patrick Mahomes ended up getting like an ankle sprain in that game. So I was like, oh no, here we go. They're about to lose. But they ended up pulling it out. So thank God. Hopefully, Patrick is good for the next game coming up because he's going to need to be at 100%. But I picked the Chiefs there and they won. The Giants and the Eagles ended up beating the Giants 38-7 with an absolute shellacking. I didn't expect it to be that much of a beating, but um, I guess Daniel Jones just couldn't get it going. It looked like Jalen Hurts, he threw two tutties, 154 yards, and he rushed for 34 yards with a rushing touchdown. So he is back in form, so he's going to be pretty hard to beat. I picked the Eagles there. So far 3-4-3. And then the Bills and the Bengals, I actually ended up picking the Bills, but they lost to the Bengals 27-10. I watched the majority of that game and excuse me, I do not know what happened to the Bills. They just did not look good. I don't know if the Bengals just have their number or what, but pretty sad to see. The Bengals played pretty on point the entire game, and then Josh Allen. I mean, he threw for 265, but he didn't have a single touchdown thrown. But he had an interception. He did have one rushing touchdown, but um, I don't know. I guess their offense just couldn't get it going, and the defense could not make any stops, even though they were one of the best defenses in the regular season. I just don't know what happened. Unfortunate, because everyone kind of thought this could be the Bills' year, but for whatever reason, they always have those playoff slip ups. So, um, I mean, I guess regular season doesn't really matter if you just choke in the playoffs. So, I don't know. Kind of sucks. I kind of wanted to see the Bills go all the way and potentially win it this year, but it is what it is. And then speaking of choking in the playoffs, it was the Cowboys and the 49ers. The 49ers beat the Cowboys 19-12 in kind of a low scoring affair. So I also had the 49ers on that one. So I got out of five, I got four of them right. So that's pretty good. So we'll go with that. It's kind of easier to predict the playoff games instead of the regular season games. But yeah, America's team got knocked out again in the playoffs. Another um, disappointing playoff run for them, but I kind of don't care because I don't give a fuck about the Cowboys. I think they're super overhyped, and I think they're kind of an annoying franchise. So whatever, I don't really care. And then for the conference championships, we have some really good matchups here. We have the 49ers and the Eagles. It's going to be played in Philly, and that is going to be Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. So I'm going Eagles all the way here. And then for the NFC, is the NFC? With the AFC, whatever. For the other conference championship game, it is the Bengals and the Chiefs. That is at Cincinnati, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think this is going to be an absolute banger. The Bengals actually beat the Chiefs to get to the Super Bowl not too long ago, but I'm going to go Chiefs here. But I would be surprised if the Bengals actually pull this game off here because they are looking red hot. So keep an eye out for them. Those games are coming up. Those are going to be dope. I'll be talking about that next episode, but it's pretty quick for the NFL there. It's getting really close to the Super Bowl. It's going to be February 12th. So after this weekend, not a whole lot of NFL action coming up here. So um, after this weekend, there's a whole week off, and then they have the Super Bowl on the 12th. The 12th of February is a Sunday. So this weekend, then there's a week off, and then there's Super Bowl. So um, after this weekend, there won't be any talk about NFL until the Super Bowl. So, um, keep your eyes peeled on that one. But luckily, as the NFL season is winding down, there is plenty of other sports going on, namely the UFC here. So this past weekend on Saturday, we had UFC 283, which is the first big card on the year. Um, some pretty cool fights here. I only watched a little bit of them because it was on pretty late. On the early prelims, I did not really watch because I didn't really care here. Um, some interesting, you know, a lot of submissions or TKOs, which is pretty good. You always want to see that on a main card. On the prelim card, um, anything interesting? Not really. Mauricio Shogun Hua ended up losing on the prelim card. That kind of sucks. I don't know if he's still going, but on the main card, Johnny Walker ended up knocking out Paul Craig. That's pretty crazy. Gilbert Burns submitted Neil Magny. Brandon Moreno ended up beating Davison Figueiredo in the third round, which is really dope. So good for him. So he ended up winning from the fourth fight that they had. So I doubt they're going to run that back. And then Jamal Hill ended up beating Glover Teixeira in a decision, and I believe Glover actually hung up the gloves and retired. So I mean that's good. He's been doing it forever. It's about time to hang up before you get any really crazy damage. But yeah, I didn't really watch the majority of this fight. I watched a decent amount of the prelims card, but not the main card because it started like 10 p.m. and I wasn't going to stay up for that. But um, I'll probably go back and watch the highlights of a lot of these fights. But yeah, one thing I'm really glad to see is the Brandon Moreno actually won. So he is going to be um, going forward, probably the best fighter in that flyweight division. So I want to see more matchups between him and whoever else. I don't want to just keep seeing him and Davison Figueiredo like fighting people or fighting each other. It's kind of boring. So it's good to see the mix up there. So let's look at the next UFC card. Is going to be a fight night with Derek Lewis and Sergey Spivak, which I am not going to watch because that main card starts at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, so there's no fucking way I'm staying up for that. And this is the one that's actually got a lot of the Asian fighters on the card, which I think is really dope. So I think that's what they're kind of catering to is the Asian fan base because this is a very late card. The prelim card starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the main card starts at 1 in the morning. So I mean, I think that's really who they're catering to. And then after that is the UFC 284, which is the one that's in Australia. I would like to stay up and watch this fight, but it is going to be on pretty late. And this is the night before the Super Bowl. So this is going to be February 11th with the Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev fight, which is going to be super hyped. So maybe I'll stay up for this. I don't know. We'll see. Depending on what happens. I don't know what exactly I'm doing that night, but we'll take a look. That's got a lot of cool stuff on it. So coming up, those are going to be the two fight nights. The UFC 284 is definitely the one I'm more interested in, obviously. So keep an eye out for that. But other than that, that's going to be it for the UFC for now. They're starting to announce more and more fights, which is really pretty cool. Like UFC 285, which is John Jones against Cyril Gahn. That's going to be March 4th. That's going to be dope. They're probably going to add a bunch of cool fights for that. So keep an eye out for that one as well. And then anything else? UFC 286, which is Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman. That's gonna be March 18th. That's gonna be a dope fight. It's got Justin Gaethje on the card. Marvin Vittori's on the card. Anyone else really cool on the card? I don't see off the top of my head, but that's gonna be a dope card as well. So again, they're gonna start rolling out more and more. So that's gonna be it for the UFC portion. Let's go back onto the notes. And then we're going to go take a look at the NHL really quickly with the Boston Bruins. They did just win their last game against the San Jose Sharks. They won 4-0. They are playing tonight in Canada at the Montreal Canadiens tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Canadians are not that good right now, so I would expect them to absolutely shit all over them, but you never know. They're going on a pretty long road streak here, so they're playing today. So these are the next few games coming up. We're playing at Montreal, then at Tampa, then at Florida Panthers, at Carolina Hurricanes, at Toronto Maple Leafs. So that's going to be a long road season or long road stretch. So um, don't be so surprised if they drop a couple games there. Um, But since the last time I brought them up, they ended up winning 4-0 against the Sharks at home. Before that, they beat the New York Rangers 3-1 in New York, and then before that, they ended up beating the Islanders 4-1 in New York as well. And then they also played Monday, January 16th. They played against the Flyers, beat them 6-0. Absolutely pooped on them. So love to see that kind of shit. But let's take a look at the standings really quickly. In the Eastern Conference Atlantic Division, the Bruins are still atop by a landslide. They've got 78 points, and the next closest team is going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs with 66 points. So the Bruins are an absolute heater right now. And the Canadians are at the bottom of the Atlantic Division. They're 20, 24, and 3 with 43 points. So um, if the Bruins drop this game, it's because they are being lazy, I guess. But I doubt they're going to drop this game. But again, like I said, they're going to be on a massive road um, stretch here, so I would not be surprised if they dropped a game or two. So just be on the lookout for that. What else do we have here? In the Metro Division, the Hurricanes top the Metro Division with 66 points. Right behind them is the Jersey Devils at 64. Both of those teams still looking really good. And in the Western Conference Central Division, the Dallas Stars are topping that division at 64 points, and right behind them is the Winnipeg Jets with 63 points. The Toronto Avalanche, last year's Stanley Cup winners, are not doing so hot right now with only 53 points. They are currently 25, 17, and 3. They're on a 5-game winning streak, so hopefully they can get hot here and get themselves up in the standings. But I don't know what's going on with that team. I didn't really pay attention to the offseason to see what happened to them, but um, it would be nice to see them go back to the Stanley Cup and try and defend, but it is what it is. And then for the Pacific Division, the Golden Knights are still topping the division with 60 points. Right behind them is the Seattle Kraken with 59. This is the closest division in hockey, but it's also probably the weakest. So it looks like 60 points, 59 points, 58 points, 57 points. So this is the closest division, but arguably the weakest from top to bottom. So um, yeah, not too much hype on the Pacific Division coming out here, but I would like to see Vegas, Seattle, and LA come out of there for the playoffs at least. But still a lot of hockey to go here, so um, don't get too excited yet. So there's a whole lot of hockey to play. So for the games tonight, there's actually a lot of games tonight here. Looks like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 games tonight, which is pretty fucking nutty. A lot of them at 7. So Panthers at Penguins should be a good game. They've got Minnesota Wild at Tampa Bay Lightning. That's going to be good. And of course, the Bruins at the Canadians. Kings and Flyers. That might not be so good. Red Wings and Sharks. That game could be dog shit. Vegas Golden Knights is playing the Jersey Devils tonight in Jersey. That should actually be a pretty good game. Um, and then everything else I kind of don't really care about here. But there's a whole lot of hockey tonight. So if you're looking to put some money down on puck, tonight would be the night. But that's going to be it right now for the NHL anyway. As the playoffs get closer, I'll probably go into more detail about those games. But for now, I'm just going to keep it pretty broad spectrum here. So then we're going to jump over to the NBA. Boston Celtics still doing really well, except they just ended up losing to sorry, Jesus. They ended up losing to the Orlando Magic last night, 113 to 98. I don't really know what happened there. I watched the beginning of this game a little bit here. Even though we had like power on and off, I did end up watching a little bit of the game, and the Magic look they were looking really good at the beginning in the first, but I didn't watch the entirety of it, obviously. Um, yeah, I don't know. They should not be dropping games like that at all. Celtics are also playing tonight against Miami. They're playing 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I feel like they get up for good competition, so hopefully um, they will win that game. But before that, um, they ended up playing last Saturday, the 21st, against Toronto. They beat them 106 to 104 in a really close game. And then before that, they ended up beating the Golden State Warriors 121 to 118 in OT, which is obviously a great win. So the Celtics are still on point and still looking really good. It's just, they drop dumb fucking games like that. But I mean, their record is so good that I guess they can drop a few games. But again, you kind of don't want to. Um, But looking at the Eastern Conference division, the Celtics are still topping the division at 35 and 13, 9-1 their last 10. But right behind them is going to be um, surprisingly, is the 76ers. They're 30 and 16 with a 5-game win streak. Um, so keep an eye on them. And then we also have the Bucks, Nets, Cavs, Heat right behind all that. But uh, Celtics still out ahead, but obviously dropping dump games like that is not going to bolster your confidence for the rest of the season. But you know, every once in a while you could drop a couple games, but Orlando Magic is just so fucking bad. Like, how are you gonna drop that game? They're currently 18 and 29. Like, come on, dude, give me a break. Whatever. And then the Western Conference, you've got the Nuggets topping the Western Conference at 33 and 14, also 9-1 in their last 10. Right behind them is the Memphis Grizzlies. Then, surprisingly, is the Sacramento Kings and the Pelicans and the Mavs. The West is kind of fucking all over the place. I don't know what's going on because the Warriors are 23 and 24, Lakers are 22 and 25. A lot of these really high up teams that used to be there are kind of shit right now, like the Timberwolves 24 and 25, the Jazz 25-25. Like, don't really know what's going on, but the Nuggets seem to be on a roll here with the second best what do you call it? The second best record in basketball. So it'd be kind of cool to see Nuggets Celtics in the finals, but I don't know. We'll see. It's still too soon for that. So again, broad sweeping overview of the NBA because it's not even close to um, playoff season yet, but a decent amount of NBA games tonight. Looks like 2, 4, 6, 7 games tonight. The only games I really care about that are interesting are going to be the Celtics and Heat, and then there's the Nuggets Pelicans at 8:30, or sorry, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're playing in New Orleans. That should be a good game. But that's about it. Everything else I kind of don't really care about. Like, there's a Clippers Lakers game. Like, who fucking cares about that game, dude? Both those teams suck dick, so who cares? But yeah, that's gonna be broad sweeping overview of the NBA with a New England sports bias here. But again, once the playoffs get closer, I will be going into it in a little bit more depth, and then uh, give a little bit more of a breakdown on that. So that's going to be the NBA here. And I did want to mention briefly about the Premier League. I'm trying to watch more games here, but depending on when they're playing, it's like hard for me to watch them. But I did watch the Arsenal Man United game. That was this past Sunday. That was actually a really good game. I didn't get to watch the end of it, unfortunately, because I had to go out and help my dad like shovel and shit like that. But that Arsenal Man United game was fucking fire. Ended up being an Arsenal win 3-2, and then was there another game I watched? I ended up watching a little bit of the Crystal Palace and Newcastle game that ended up in a draw, which wasn't that exciting. But I just thought that because I think if I remember correctly, yeah, I thought Newcastle was going to shit all over them because they're like third right now in the Premier League, and Crystal Palace is 12th. So I thought they were just going to absolutely dumpster them, but I guess not. I don't know, really. And also Tottenham actually ended up winning against Fulham, which they definitely needed that win to stay in the top 5 here. Um, but yeah, Premier League, pretty exciting. I'm trying to get more into it. I don't have a favorite team, but I'm just trying to watch a decent amount so I can actually get an understanding of the sport and then like who's on the teams and like whatever. But a lot of the games are pretty exciting. So if you guys get a chance, definitely watch some Premier League because that's probably um, the easier one to get into as a United States citizen. Because there's also like the German league, the Bundesliga. Then they got the Italian league. They got La Liga, which is the Spanish league. They have the they have everything. You know what I mean? So they have them all over the place. It's just that like it's hard for me to find those games, and then hard for me to watch them at times that aren't like 3 in the morning or whatever the fuck. So, um, but yeah, for whatever reason, the Premier League ends up always being like 9 in the morning or whatever on the Saturday. So I end up actually getting to watch those games. They're pretty interesting to watch. So, um, I'll probably talk a little bit more about football in the future, but that is going to be it for the typical sports. We're going into the esports now, which is everyone's fucking greatest and favorite portion of the segment here. Um, So first off, we're going to start with League of Legends for the LPL. So the LPL is actually on a break as of right now for the new year. Um, but from last week, I believe. Yeah, last week we had Monday, January 16th. I don't remember if I talked about these games or not, but Top Esports ended up beating Rogue Warriors 2-0. Pretty obvious. EDG ended up 2-0ing WE. I don't think I really watched those games, but that's okay. Um, on the 17th, IG actually ended up 2-0ing RNG, which is pretty wild. I didn't watch that game. And then LNG ended up 2-0ing Thunder Talk Gaming. So I didn't watch either of those games. I didn't really care about them, but um, again, the season is just getting started, so I'm going to be doing a little bit more deep dives into looking into those games, those teams at least, since they made a lot of change ups. But for right now, then we also had Wednesday, January 18th. We had Weibo Gaming actually ended up 2-1ing Top Esports. This was actually ended up being a really dope game. I didn't get to watch the entirety of it, but I watched a little bit of it at least. Pretty entertaining there, but a great way to end off before the New Year break. And then BLG ended up beating FPX 2-1. Next games are coming up, going to be January 30th. Um, which is going to be this coming Monday. Those games are not that interesting, so I would not be too excited about those. Then we have Tuesday, January 31st. Those games are all boring. And Wednesday, February 1st, there's IG EDG. That should be a good game. Then there's also RNG versus LNG. That should be a good game as well. So those Monday and Tuesday games, if you really wanted to, you could definitely skip. But the what should I say? The LPL is actually coming back in full force, and they're going to be like every single fucking day for all these games. So just keep an eye out on that. I'll be bringing those up as it comes along. But again, I just wanted to mention that I'll be talking about that pretty heavily. They're going to be going on a massive day streak, so it looks like they're not taking any days off for quite a while here. So expect a lot of LPL content. And let me take a look at the LCK really quickly. From the last time I talked about them, let's see if there's any good games. All right, the 16th was the last time. So they started on January 18th with the T1 Gen G game. T1 ended up beating Gen G 2-0, and then Damwon ended up beating DRX 2-0 as well. So um, I didn't get to watch those games, but I just like to go over and look at the scores as well. Thursday, January 19th, Hanwha Life ended up 2-0ing. That's good because they're supposed to be a really good team. They dropped a game though. Friday, Damwon won and T1 won as well. January 21st, Genji ended up 2-0ing DRX. Then Sunday, January 22nd. Yeah, Hanwha Life ended up losing to Sandbox 2-1. I don't really know what happened with that game because Hanwha Life's roster is um I don't know. Hanwha Life's roster got like fully redone and they got like a bunch of money onto that team, so I don't know why they're losing, but I don't know, it is what it is. But upcoming next games are going to be tomorrow. Looks like Nongshim against Damwon, and then Sandbox against KT. Those games I don't really care about. I don't really care a whole lot about the LCK. I just think like some of the teams are interesting to watch, but um, only really interesting game that I see coming up here is going to be on Saturday, which is going to be T1 versus Dom1. That's going to be a dope game. It's at like 1 a.m. though, so I'm fortunately not going to be able to watch that. But that should be cool. Sunday, there's also a Hanwha Life Gen G game. That should be dope. So take a look at that. That's fortunately also at 1 a.m., so I can't watch that either. But some cool games coming up. I will get into those when I can. And then going into the LEC, which I just recently watched, they actually do 3 days of it now. So it just started on Saturday the 21st. So it's going to be Saturday, Sunday, Monday from now on, which is actually pretty cool because that gives me the ability to watch more of it. So um, like I'd mentioned for exciting games on the first day, it was the Vitality versus Fnatic game, which was actually really good. It's actually pretty fun to watch. That was a pretty close game. Vitality ended up beating Fnatic 16-12 in quite a close game. Anything interesting here in terms of team comps? Not really too much, but you got your boy Bo on the Graves, which was actually pretty cool. Um, and then there was also the G2 Esports against Excel game. G2 ended up winning 18 kills to 11. Um, Anything interesting here? They had the jungler Yikon Graves, who ended up doing 8-1 and 3, so he was hard carrying that game. That's interesting. And then Sunday, January 22nd, for the main games that I was looking at was going to be G2 versus Fnatic. G2 ended up beating Fnatic 19-6 and kind of shit all over him. Fnatic just not looking that good right now. Hansama played the classic Draven, went 7-1 and 9. Kind of shit all over the team, but other than that, nothing really good on Sunday in terms of games. And then just yesterday, this past Monday, um, Vitality versus Mad Lions. Vitality actually crapped on them 21-8. Any cool team comps here? Not really. Perks went 11-2 and 6 on the Azir, so he kind of popped off on that one. Um, Fnatic ended up beating Koi 14-8. Good for them. They finally needed a win on the board. I didn't get to watch a whole lot of these games again because of the power outage, but um, yeah, I do see one thing here is that like an article saying that LEC fans blame long breaks for ruining stream and hurting viewership. So one thing I did notice is that there was a shitload of like breaks in between games, game delays. I don't know what was going on for the first week at least, but they had so many game delays that made this like whole day like drag out way longer than it needed to be. Hopefully they get that cleaned up, but I don't know what happened. But yeah, they had like a whole bunch of game breaks, game pauses, game delays, shit going on, like technical difficulties in between games. So hopefully get that cleared up soon because what would have been like, 4 hours ended up being like 6 hours every single time. So it was kind of hard to watch, but I'm sure they'll have that cleaned up soon. But coming up here Sunday, January 28th, um, these games are a little bit more like less hyped, but they should be pretty good. Nothing really of note on the 28th. Let me take a look at the 29th. The 29th, you've got Fnatic Excel. That should probably be a good game. Koi Mad Lion should be a good game as well. Um, Then Monday, January 30th, G2 versus Vitality. That should be a really good game. And then you got Fnatic Heretics. That should be a good game. So those are some pretty good games coming up. Again, it's just the start of the season, so I'll get into more detail about that. I'm going to try and actually sit down and watch as much of the games as possible. What ends up happening is like I'll like be at the gym or something when those games are going on, and then Sunday in the morning, I usually try to get out and do stuff before the games actually start. Same thing with like Saturday and stuff like that. I try to do as much as possible before the games start. This weekend, I might not be able to watch as much of the games as I like to because I think I might have a couple things coming up, some friends to help out on this weekend. Um, but yeah, we'll figure it out. It's not that big of a deal. If not, I can watch the highlights or something like that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the LEC. Again, I will get more information on that as it comes up, and I'll probably do a little more deep dives on the games. But I like to do a broad, sweeping spectrum of them so far, and just see what I notice. And then what looks like the LCS doesn't start up until this Thursday. So the LCS now is going to be Thursday, Fridays. Um, Actually, let me double check. Yeah, they're gonna be doing like Thursday, Fridays now. So it starts this Thursday, January 26th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Some pretty good games here. So the first game is going to be 100 Thieves versus Cloud9. That should be dope. I don't know why they're going so late though, because the last game starts at 9 p.m. I mean, I'm not going to watch any of that shit. Like Friday, I might watch some of those games where they end, but they're starting really, really late. I'm not really 100% sure why. Maybe they're just trying it out, but I don't really know what they're doing. But I don't know. We'll see. Games to look forward to this Thursday, January 26th. Is going to be the 100 Thieves Cloud 9 game. The FlyQuest Team Liquid game should be dope as well. That's 7 p.m. Excuse me, Eastern Standard Time. Again, these games are so fucking late. Like, what is going on? And then those are kind of the only games that actually like quote unquote bangers. And then Friday, January 27th, take a quick look at those games. Got a TSM Team Liquid game that should be pretty dope. All the other ones are kind of a little bit one-sided, but it is what it is. So all right, so the recording actually ended up stopping as I was in the middle of that, but I was just basically wrapping up on the LCS anyway. Basically just saying that it's going to start as of this coming Thursday, 26th. Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna start at the 26th, so I'm gonna be mentioning that, bringing that up as well. I'm not insanely excited for the LCS here, but I'll probably be trying to watch as much of it as possible. Um, Again, the games are all starting so late, so like I don't really fucking understand it, but whatever. Um, so then going into that, I got myself a watermelon high noon. So thank you. Excuse me. Then after that, I wanted to talk about some anime that I actually caught up on. So I actually ended up finishing up the Mob Psycho season 3. Um, Season, which I actually really liked. So if you guys ever get a chance, that's going to be my recommendation for the episode here. Is going to be the Mob Psycho season 3 season. Really fucking good. I thought it ended off really well. I'm not going to ruin anything, but my anime list has this as an 8.75. I think it is actually higher than that. I will give it a 9 out of 10. That's probably be my highest rating ever on this podcast, but um, I don't know. I just really liked the series. It was simple. It was well done. It was a whole lot of fun. This season was kind of all over the place, but animation obviously through the park because it was done by Studio Bones, and they're absolutely fucking um, cracked. You know what I mean? They're so good at what they do. So um, my brother kept saying how I think this was going to be the last season, or he like reread that somewhere that it's going to be the last season. The ended up like the last episode ended up on like what was I don't want to say open ended, but there was a ability for more to be made. I don't know because I don't read the manga or the web manga of this series, so I don't really know. It'd be kind of sad if it was the end, but all good things have to come to an end, so I kind of get it. But yeah, I mean, guys, what can I say? This is probably one of my favorite anime series of all time. Um, it's definitely not going to be in most common people's like top 5 list, but this is definitely like top 5, top 3 for me potentially. I don't really make a whole lot of those lists, but if I had to, this is definitely be up there. So just doing this like quickly off the top of my head in terms of series that I could actually think of. Um, so I'm gonna do a top anime series list here. So first one is gonna be Mob Psycho, and this is in no specific order, but this is just like stuff that I really enjoy. So I'll put Mob Psycho. I'll put Cowboy Bebop on here as well. Um, and it's really hard to think of like series that you like that are really good. I guess I'll put Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, even though I haven't finished that, and don't fucking jump down my throat yet. Like I get it, I'll finish it at some point. Like I got a lot to go through, bro. Like give me a fucking break, okay? Um, what else? I mean, I had to put JoJo's Bizarre Adventure up there as well. Like it's amazing. One Piece obviously is the goat, so One Piece is going to be in the top 3 for sure. Um, that's 1, 2, 3. That's 5 right there. So I mean, I think that's probably my top 5. Is Mob Psycho, Cowboy Bebop, Full Metal Alchemist, JoJo's, and One Piece. Actually, I have to throw Hunter x Hunter in there as well. That's actually really good. I think I would take out Mob Psycho and put Hunter x Hunter in if I was going with top 5. Um, but Mob Psycho would be right there on the cusp. It really is that fucking good, if you ask me. Any mother fuck, I can't really think off the top of my head. Let me look through like a list really quickly and see if there's anything that I really fucking liked. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen's kind of getting up there. Um, what else? Um, yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen's getting up there. Um, First season of Devil as a Part Timer would definitely be up there, top 10 somewhere. I thought that was really fucking good. Second season, not so good. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But um, Man, what's some other shit that I really, really fucking enjoyed? See, it's like hard to think now that you're just like on top of your toes, like trying to think. I mean, ReZero I really like. That's up there as well. Haikyuu's up there. I think that's really fucking good. Yeah, there's just like so much random shit. Like, Vinland Saga is really good. I think Black Clover is really good. Big O, which again I need to finish. Don't get on me about that. Um, just a lot going on. But again, that's I digress. But again, for Mob Psycho season 3, 9 out of 10. I think it was fucking amazing. As close to perfect as you can get. So, anything other than that, I really don't even fucking know what else they can improve on. I just thought it was good. I mean, if that's the end of it, that's the end of it. But if you guys ever get a chance, I definitely would suggest pulling up the series and watching it from beginning to end. Um, 3 seasons here, a whole lot of content for you guys, so it's definitely worth looking into. Again, Mob Psycho 100 season 3. If you haven't watched it, watch it from season 1. Um, you laugh, you cry, you fucking shit your pants. Okay, it's just I don't know. Whatever it is, I just love it. I just think it's so good. I mean, I could go into more depth about it, but I'm not really the analytical anime guy. I just kind of do broad, sweeping fucking generalizations about shit because, excuse me, broad, sweeping generalizations about shit because I don't know what else to say. Um, I was thinking maybe like if I made like a um, another YouTube channel about like doing like more deep dives, but that'd be more like a scripted thing, which this isn't really scripted. I just have like topics I want to talk about. So if I wanted to, because I had like a thing a while ago where I wanted to do like these scripted videos about anime series. I had like written the whole things out about it, but I did one for this was probably a long time ago now that I think about it. I did one for what is it called? SAO. Um, I can't even remember what it's. Sword Art Online. Sorry. I did one where I originally watched Sword Art Online, which is like years ago now. Where I did this whole like breakdown on it, and it's like very highly scripted or whatever. But um, and then I did another one on Excel World, and I'd written up some like they're basically like dissertations or whatever the fuck you want to call that, like um, like high school level fucking writing, but um yeah, that'd be an insane passion project of mine if I ever did that, which would be to make anime like breakdown videos. Those would probably be anywhere between 10 to 15 minute in length. Again, highly scripted with like stuff I'd want to write. It wouldn't really be off the dome type of shit like this is, but um, again, I don't see that happening anytime soon, just because I don't have the time or like the motivation to do that. So that would be an insane passion project where if I had any time and it would like value my life or like bring monetary value to my life, I would do it. But again, I don't think there's a whole big market for that. So it'd be like me putting in a lot of effort on these videos to get like really nothing in return for it. So again, that'd be a more of a massive passion project for me to go to take under. But yeah, I wouldn't really do that as of right now. But again, Mob Psycho 100, 9 out of 10. You guys go fucking watch this shit. Amazing. If you don't like it, don't fucking talk to me. All right, that's it. And then other shit that I caught up on recently. Where is it? Shit that I caught up on. I also caught up on another series that I had watched from a while ago. I caught up on the second season of that. That was, let me get the actual the name of it pulled up because it's got one of these fucking wild ass long names. So it's called Arifueta, from Commonplace to World's Strongest. I caught up on the season 2 of that. So overall, I think the season 2 was better, better animation and better pacing, better story, stuff like that. I thought it was pretty decent. My anime list has it as a 7.19 on here. I think that is a little high. I'd probably give it a 6.5. I thought it was watchable and it was decent. I kind of interested to see where the story is going, but seven's kind of high here. So they definitely updated and upgraded a lot of things. So that was around the winter 2022 season. I thought it was decent. You could definitely go without watching it, but again, whenever I watch and finish something, I always want to mention it so you guys actually know that I actually do watch anime. So and then I'll bring up some things that I watched and finished. So if anything catches your eye, you guys could definitely take a look into it and see if you guys would like it at all. And if you end up watching anything that I mentioned, let me know down in the comments below and tell me what you thought about it. So that one was decent. I caught up on that. And then what else did I catch up on? I also caught up on The Devil's a Part-Timer season 2. I was actually highly disappointed with that. The first season was significantly better. The comedy was there. The goofiness and the seriousness was there when it needed to be. But the first season ended up airing back in 2013. So obviously, a lot of things were different in terms of directors, stuff like that, studios. The first season had a 7.76. I would give it an 8. I thought it was way better. I thought it was so much better. And then they had the season 2, which ended up airing in summer of 2022, so quite a long ways after that. I thought it was significantly worse, not as funny. My anime list has it as a 6.67. I think that is significantly higher than what it deserves. I would consider that a 5 out of 5. It was the most 5 out of 5 series I've ever watched in my life. Um, so I would say 5 out of 5. You guys could definitely skip watching that. I would definitely suggest the first season, but if you're clamoring for more and looking for more, then don't watch the second. It is not that good. If you want, maybe take a look into the light novel because it's based off of a light novel if you'd like to read. But for the first season of the anime, at least significantly better. Um, yeah, the second season definitely not as good. They just did some weird shit. It wasn't as funny. They had this whole thing where they introduced a baby character that wasn't it just wasn't, like, good, you know what I mean? Like, it just, like, kinda, like, made the series, like, more wholesome, which isn't a bad thing, but it didn't make it more interesting and funny, whereas the first season was, like, pretty funny and, like, pretty action-packed, and the second season just wasn't, so I don't know, I wouldn't suggest it, but again, I just wanna let you guys know when I do watch more shit, I will fucking mention it. And I also caught up on let me see if I can get the actual name of this listed up here. If I can read this off. Where is this? Here it is. English name is the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated into another world as an aristocrat. Another fucking wild, out of control name that doesn't need to be that long. But it was pretty good. I was actually reading the manga of this quite a while ago. I'm not fully caught up on it, but it got kind of boring, so that's why I kind of stopped catching up on it. But um, I ended up finishing this up recently. The animation fucking through the roof, done by Silverlink, so they were absolutely popping off. This is back in fall of 2021, so I'm kind of reaching back into the grab bag to try and finish off some of the stuff that's been on my list. So I'm trying to get as much done as possible here. Um, but this one was pretty good. My anime list 7.37 out of 10. I'd probably give this a 6.5, something that you could definitely skip, but an easy watch and is pretty well done. Animation wise, so it's like not like it looked like dog shit, but the studio did a great job. But the story is kind of like whatever. It's just like some power fantasy bullshit, but pretty decent. So if you guys want to check that one out, take a look. But nothing super insane. And for the stuff that I'm currently watching right now, I'm trying to keep as frequent as possible here. But let me go over. I still haven't watched Vinland Saga yet. I'm trying to catch up on that. I am still watching The Misfit of the Demon King Academy season 2. That's just like an easy watch, but it's not that good, so I'm not gonna highly recommend it here. Um, I'm trying to consistent watching Tokyo Revengers for the second season. Excuse me. That one's still pretty good, so I think I'm actually gonna watch, I think episode 3 tonight. I'll keep up on that as much as possible. Um, I need to keep watching the Nier series. I think that one's pretty good. I just don't know what the fuck is going on. What else? Obviously, Don Machi is still pretty good, so I'm gonna be keeping up with that. Really enjoying that so far. Um The Adventures Who Don't Believe in Humanity is pretty decent. I mean, it's done well, pretty animation wise, but kind of a boring series, so I might drop it at some point. Also, I've read a decent amount of the manga, so I kind of know what the deal is. But Trigun Stampede, I haven't watched yet. I'm going to try to get into that as soon as possible. Um, Farming Life in Another World, an easy watch. Nothing crazy there. I mean, again, I've read the majority of the manga, so I kind of know what's going on. So it's whatever. I'm still enjoying it. The Reincarnation of the Strongest Exorcist in Another World. That one's all right. Again, another series I read. Like, it's another series where it didn't need an anime adaptation that got one, but it's just kind of an easy watch. So mildly enjoying that. And then Campfire Cooking in Another World. That one, same boat. Definitely didn't need an anime adaptation, but it got one. It looks really good. I mean, it's being done by Studio Mappa, so the animation is through the roof. So, I mean, that was pretty decent. It's like, just kind of an easy watch. A lot of easy watching series this season. And then the Handyman Saito series, I'm kind of enjoying. I didn't read any of the manga, but it's pretty popular apparently. It's got like all these like 4K coma, like small ones that are kind of fucking um, mm, easy to digest, but the animation is good and it's pretty funny, so I actually don't mind that one. I'm kind of enjoying it more than I thought. Um, then there's Chilling in My 30s After Getting Fired. That one, another one, didn't need an anime adaptation, but it got one anyway. It's not too bad, easy watch. Nothing crazy about that. Probably another like 5 out of 5 series. Then The Fruit of Evolution season 2 did definitely better than this first season. I'm enjoying it for the most part. The animation definitely got an upgrade, but um, I also know basically what's gonna happen anyway because 'cause I'm caught up on the manga for that, so it's, like, nothing super fucking crazy or anything like that, but, good to see the anime, adaptation got a upgrade and then the animation at least. I think that's about it. There's a bunch of other stuff, again, this whole season, not gonna blow your pants off because there's a lot of shit that is popular in the manga space that didn't really need an anime adaptation, but it's getting one anyway. Um so it is what it is. I mean, obviously, Vinland Saga and Tokyo Revengers definitely needed another one, but some of these other things definitely don't need another series or an anime adaptation. But um, next season is going to be a banger, obviously, with Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, Doctor Stone, that Hell's Paradise series, which I'll bring up more when that season starts. It's going to be sick. The Ancient Magus Bride. Fuck, I need to go back and watch that. Damn it! I keep forgetting that. In Another World with my smartphone. Definitely didn't need another season, but we'll see. I'll probably be watching that. So some decent stuff for next season. That's going to be spring 2023. God, I can't wait for the nice winter. Um, we also got Jujutsu Kaisen coming up in summer of 2023. If anybody listens to this, I did actually bring up a manga recommendation for Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. They're actually doing an anime adaptation for that I'm actually kind of fucking excited for. That's going to be July of 2023 as well. I didn't expect that to be getting a um, anime adaptation, but I'm glad it did. A lot of other stuff randomly gets it, so I mean, they just happen to be on the wheel, so fucking let's go. But yeah, good for them. So I think that's probably going to be it. I haven't really been reading a whole lot of manga, just trying to catch up on like small things here or there. I haven't really found anything recently that I've kind of fallen in love with. Whenever I do, I definitely try to let you guys know here on the podcast. But looking at it quickly, I don't really see anything as of recently that I've kind of like gotten into. I've kind of fallen out of the whole reading manga pretty consistently here. Um, Now it's just kinda me catching up on stuff that's actually good and just leaving a lot of trash on the side. I used to, like, randomly find stuff that I really enjoyed, but it's kinda hard now. I mean, I just don't look at it as much and just, like, if I'm just, like, looking at, like, random stuff that came out, like, I'm, like, a big, like, eat with my eyes kinda guy where it's, like, if I see it on the main page and it has, like, a good, name and a good, like, cover art, I'll probably look into it, and if I like it, I like it. If not, I'll drop it really fucking quick. But um, I just haven't gotten into the groove of doing that recently. So it is what it is. Maybe one of these days when I find myself with some time, I'll just fucking just go through and just like look at some random shit. But again, it's kind of hard to find like anything super interesting. But it is what it is. Um, Oh well. But all right, guys, that is going to be it for the Back by Bone podcast. This is going to be episode 31. My apologies for it being late, but again, had a power outage yesterday, so what the fuck are you gonna do? But yeah, so a lot of League of Legends coming up, guys. A lot of NFL and yeah, just keep an eye out. I mean, I'm gonna be trying to do more reviews of the anime stuff that I am watching here, and then when I finish them, I will let you guys know. Kind of going through my backlog, trying to get as much done as possible. Um, but I don't really do a whole lot of deep reviews on here because, well, no one's clamoring for them and no one really listens anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I like to just go through it and then, like, list off the stuff that I've watched and give a brief little rundown and or a brief little fucking numerical rating for it. So is what it is. But thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate anyone who listens, any supporters. You guys are the best. If there's any comments or anything down below, all the links are in the description below. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys, and go get your fucking dick wet. Peace.